It would do a lot for you to do what she could not do and forgive. I wasn't expecting this emotional roller coaster.
No, this is a different...
Wow. Welcome back, everyone, to another reaction to Moon Knight. I'm Nicholas. I'm joined today by Chris. How you doing, buddy?
Yep. Hey, how's it going?
Pretty good, pretty good. As you all noticed, Mike is not here today. He's in a band and had a show last night, so he was up late and couldn't make it this morning. But I'm sure he'll watch it and catch up with us next week. So, Chris, well, I guess I'll say for myself, where the last episode ended with the Asylum, I thought that was a funny, cool little twist. I think I share your view about such things, that it's rarely done right when you're dedicated so much of your time into a character, and then towards the end they're just like, oh, that was all a dream. I think we talked about this in the unreleased WandaVision reactions that we've done.
Yeah, you don't want to go there.
So I'm hoping they wrap that aspect up here, or explore it a little more, and then kind of wrap it up, and hopefully this is not all just a dream. What do you think about kind of that stuff?
Very much. I really can't even think of an occasion I've seen it done right where it's just a dream, which I don't think
A Beautiful Mind.
Here. Okay.
But the whole thing wasn't a dream, absolutely. Just elements were because of
elements, his schizophrenia. But that was done right, and that's a good call for this movie, because we're also dealing with schizophrenia stuff here, but I don't think that's the approach.
In general, though, that's
in
not,
general, yeah. And I don't think that's what they're gonna. I think we're gonna. I think that hippo lady is a real thing, I hope, and
we get more of that, more than just hi.
Hi.
And I don't know if you noticed, Chris, but in the edit of the last one, at the very end, you did that like hi, when I was saying goodbye or whatever, and the thing rolled over. I went and took the audio of the hippo saying it and replaced your audio with hi.
That's great.
Good impression you did there. No, I don't think they're going to do it. I think they'll explore some of this aspect a little bit to fuck with us or whatever, to explore the characters or whatever. But it's a Marvel show. It's going to it's almost obligatory to end with a big CG fight scene at the end. There's got to be something. So if this was all real in the Asylum, was it going to end with the conversation? I can understand that with like Vision. I like how they did that in WandaVision. They left the fighting up to Wanda and Agnes kind of fighting CG fight, but Vision and White Vision threw a punch or two, but then it was ended the way Vision would end it, in this like intellectual battle. You know what I mean? I thought that was awesome. But I don't see that for Moon Knight.
Yeah, but this is again, this is the penultimate, as you like to say, which is in all these Marvel series so far. We've the penultimate episodes have been some of the best. So I am very excited about where this is going.
We're also recording and reacting to Loki, getting Chris caught up with Phase 4 here, and we just record on Monday. We just watched or I guess it was last Monday. Oh, we watched both of them. That's right. We watched two episodes on Monday.
5 and 6,
So, but the penultimate was like that too. It's like gets even more crazy, but starts the turnaround.
So I think the hippo is the start of the crazy,
right? And this will be So
we're gonna see, this is gonna be a great episode, I think.
Cool. Well, anything else, or should we get into the penultimate episode? Well, it's called Asylum. If you're interested in full-length reactions, you can check out the link below over on Patreon, where we have this show and many, many others. 3, 2, 1, play.
I love Ethan Hawke as an actor.
He's in a lot of stuff this year.
He is.
I was just thinking about it. I like him a lot. I remember two old films that I loved, which was Gattaca.
Gattaca's
a great movie, and not as many people liked this movie, but I did. Great Expectations.
You're Mark, I don't know, superhero. All right, you're doing everything and
What is this
everything
sound? Click,
possible
click.
not to
So this is some great sound design mixed with editing.
Yeah, it's almost like a.
fights in our hospital.
We need to take note.
What do you call that thing? Yeah, ting, ting, yeah.
I feel hippopotamus. I find that really interesting.
Me too.
This hippo
Me too, yeah.
on the walls between you and Steven.
I mean, they must pay you a lot of money in this place.
You know,
Was that a different voice? Was that the third guy?
I'm afraid you're actually quite dead.
It's like a purgatory.
yes.
Oh yeah.
It's been a minute since we've had
Paint
a
your
soul
nails.
pastor
Yeah,
here.
with blue nails. Yeah.
Talking hippo. Talking dead birds.
He's
They're
just-
outside of my body now. And now the afterlife.
Whoa.
Whoa. What is?
A ship sailing through sand. This is crazy.
It worked! Look at that! It was little old me worrying I'd blow your chest wide open.
What?
What if they don't balance?
You get thrown overboard. Whee! Today we'll drag you down into the duat, where you will remain forever, frozen in sand.
All right, what are you proposing? If it comes to it, kill the hippo, steal the boat. I don't know about you, but my memories are a frickin' mess.
Oh, that's the replay of the.
From that first scene or the first episode? Yeah.
Yeah.
That bathroom.
Do you remember this?
It's the third guy.
Yeah.
Exactly.
I don't know, it's the street. You know, how many streets have you walked down here? Just a creepy calf filled with dead bodies. So it is. No prizes. So whose room this is. Go on.
People is killed.
What, do you know these?
Is her father going to be in here?
Her father. Yeah.
No.
Bad.
No. What's your name there? Oh, hold on there. Wait a moment. Wait a moment.
What do you do? Keep an eye on your brother, okay? Later, skaters.
Mark get his brother killed. Grounded.
I think so. Or something. Yeah.
Traumatic event. It's known DID. A traumatic event is the onset of multiple personalities,
Compartmentalize.
Yeah.
Right into.
so you can handle it.
It's kind of crazy they have this in their backyard though. Or their-
Right. And the funeral.
What are you doing here?
Yeah, she blames him.
Come on, buddy.
You were supposed to keep him safe?
Steven, let's go.
Wendy, please.
I totally understand the PTSD of this.
We're just
Yeah.
about to
Brother
blow the
dies, and then he
candles
gets
now.
blamed for it. Yeah, it's like
Your mother's not feeling well now.
that's why he's always calling his mom at the beginning of the show.
Yeah. Yep.
We'll do it just you and I this year.
Different birthday. Now 12.
You are always jealous of him.
She's lost. Yeah. Completely devastated.
Kid. Yeah.
I should have known you would do something like this.
All right. Why are you remembering her like that? It's not what she was like.
Dad, we will fix this. You're supposed to fix this. I mean,
Off me!
This is where you came from, Steven. Is this?
That you
Here we go.
killed hostages. Is that Dr. Foley, Layla's dad? What happened to you?
He was killed on this night. Country found him, right?
I think you're right. Yeah. Yep. Yep. Beautiful shot.
So did the split? Was it another person, or did the split personalities start then with this third person? And he doesn't realize it was him.
Yeah. I wonder when they both know each other about everything, if they'll like become one person again.
Right. Right. I think so. Maybe.
As my fist of vengeance, as my moon knight.
Said the name.
Name drop.
What's going on?
Fear is spreading in the upper world. Unbalanced souls are being judged and condemned to the sands before their time.
Please, now, you have to
Look
help
what
us.
Harrow is doing. I mean,
Yeah, he's
Get those scales balanced.
okay.
I mean, I know this isn't a big science thing, but you know, the boat doing what it's doing is kind of fucking with those scales.
Yeah.
Mark, you're about to lose everything. Do you understand? If Layla dies, that's on your head.
Uh-oh.
Not again.
Oh, Mark, what you've been doing is so difficult.
A broke nose now.
I'm so proud of you.
Yeah, he's not beat up as
Reliving
much.
these
Yeah.
kind of traumatic memories can be. I want you to consider this. Do you think you created
Reflection.
Steven to hide from all of the awful things you feel you've done in your life?
Deep cut.
That is. It's like a metronome you hear in the background.
Yeah, I think it is. Kid is tormented.
Yeah. Poor kid.
He knows he fucked up, and to have it, he creates his personalities. Yep. Dramatic event.
Mark, open the door right now.
Wow, this is a freaking case study.
Yeah.
I want to see what she did. I want to see what she did.
She beat him clearly.
You're not meant to see that. You're not meant to see that. That's the whole point of you. You've got to live a happy, simple, normal life. You understand? What, you want to remember the truth? That you had a mother that beat you? That hated you? That made your life a living hell? You're lying, thinking that she loved you, that she was kind, that she's still alive.
Yep.
Let me out, let me out, let me out, let me out, let me out. Let me out.
Steven's now in control.
I'm so sorry.
Yeah.
Sorry. I'm dreadfully sorry.
Because he pushed him to the limit, and the alternate personality came out.
Steven, I'm your doctor.
That's so strange. Little haircut.
Little haircut.
It's very Ned Flanders.
Oh.
Steven,
That's
Oakley dokley.
after your mother passed.
Oi, don't say that. That's not true.
Oscar Isaac is acting his ass off in this show.
Yeah, he's amazing. That's why he's standing
The
by the
street,
car.
yeah.
Yeah. It would do a lot for you to do what she could not do and forgive.
Yeah.
I wasn't expecting this emotional roller
No, this
coaster.
is a different.
Wow.
Not again. Hey, Mum. Hey, you alright? Yeah, would you believe it? Oh, that's good, yeah. Sorry. This is it. Mom's death in Shiva 2 months ago. This was the moment our lives started bleeding into each other. Milwaukee. For all the things I'd done. Mark, all those horrible things that she said to you, she was wrong. It wasn't your fault.
It was a cool way to show self-forgiveness. honestly.
You're right, man. We are our own worst critic and will not let things go. And
Yeah. Damn.
friggin' Marvel Zombies, baby.
That one's got a knife.
Ow.
If I'm you, means I've got this too.
There you go. Behind you. Ow.
Oh.
Oh, Steven. Raise the cells. Slow down. He's come to confront
He doesn't.
his problems, and Stephen was the help in doing that, and so Stephen has served his purpose.
Yeah.
Yep.
The scales are balanced.
Wow. The reeds.
Wow. I like to see like a clinical psychologist reaction to this. You know,
about
really.
this?
Yeah.
Yeah.
This is deep. Holy cow!
It is.
Wow.
It is. Let me just see if there's a.
I recommend this YouTuber Georgia Dow. DOW. She sees film and TV as I do. They're stories to deal with, ways to deal with real world issues. You know, like the stories in the Bible. That this is what they had at the time to deal with the issues of the time. And so she'll do reactions. She won't really do reactions. She'll watch something and then do like a breakdown of the clinical psychology side of what's happening. What do you think? What an episode! Like.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, to what we brought up before, I don't, think this is all. In a way, both is correct. It is all an illusion, but it's not. It's a way to deal with his history and his past and where these multiple personalities came from. But it does make me wonder about the presumed third identity, which we saw in an encased tomb, just like Stephen was. But this episode kind of veered off that to make us kind of forget about it, because it was about dealing with the split between him and Stephen. His personality's there, and that clearly had to do with his mom, or himself and his mom when he was younger, and all those events. But maybe there's another person it's still open. There could be another personality that he hasn't dealt with. But anyway, like, surprisingly, like, this was basically what without knowing what the episode was at the beginning, I was like, I hope they don't do, and we're in the asylum the whole time, hope we get on with it. But now after seeing it, like, I think you commented there, like, on the acting of Oscar Isaac, like, it dealt with his character so much. There was so much character development in this. Like, we really understand this guy now.
Well, I felt like it was, how we were talking about earlier, it's always kind of a bad thing if it's like all a dream.
Right.
This wasn't really a dream. This is like he's in purgatory, and he is just dealing with himself and trying to like balance that out.
Not running away from.
He's not running. Yeah. And then, in storytelling, you got to figure out ways to show the internal conflicts externally.
Right.
And I think it did like a brilliant job of, because I got like emotional in that. That was like great, and it's cool that like Marvel has got to the place where they know they have the fan base installed. They have, so they can take risks now in ways that we like normally. Well, I just never saw that episode ever going in that direction, or the show going that deep into. But it's also neat thinking about WandaVision, Loki, and this show. I don't want to say necessarily Captain or the Falcon was a little different, but all those shows were like such deep dives into the characters. Like, with Wanda, it was all like her insides kind of coming out and spilling over, and she's dealing with all her, like, she's dealing with something. Loki was all about, he's dealing with his own self. He like, he's coming in contact with himself in like various different forms.
It's a deep dive. You're right. It is a deep dive. Like Falcon and Winter Soldier did it a little bit, but they didn't go as deep, right?
Yeah.
Like Falcon dealing with his primary thing was the cultural view of Black Americans and their history in this country, and how that relates to patriotic duty. And the Winter Soldier, Bucky, about his wrongdoings in the past and having to own up to those and redo, correct those wrongs. But so they dealt with it more. They did deal with it, but it was more of a surface level. Unlike like you said, Wanda and WandaVision, Loki, and in this show with Mark, they're really taking the layers back and really diving in.
It's diving in, yeah.
Yeah. Wow.
What I'll be fascinated with is like going forward is just Steven gone. Like it's like Mark is kind of like a heel person. We may have this third thing to deal with, but which will be interesting
It
because
seems to be setting that up for the finale. Maybe they won't deal with the third personality, but they teased it in another season, or when we see it leaves it open for Moon Knight to still be true to his comic book character where he has split personalities, but at the same time in the show in its own is able to have a conclusion on one of those.
Yeah.
So I don't know where they'll take it, but
yeah, because it seems like so far like Marvel has kind of done a thing where you know you could be a casual viewer and just like, you know, you just watch the movies and stuff, or you can like really deep dive and like, you know, find the Easter eggs in the movies. You can like watch the shows, and you know, like if you're a casual viewer, you see Captain America give Sam the shield,
right,
and then the next movie he's gonna be Captain America. You know, it's like you don't have to see the thing, even though it adds a lot.
Right.
You know, and I wonder about. Yeah, it's just like, will Steven just kind of be a thing they like maybe like wink at or something if they don't continue Steven?
Right.
Or I'm guessing Steven will come back in like a different form probably, but you know, I guess we'll see.
Yeah, like I said, I don't know. Steven could, that part of his split personality could be what they use as a vehicle to develop his character, but may not ever refer to it again. But maybe not all issues are resolved. So maybe that will be the hallmark of Mark Spector, is that every iteration he realizes he has another personality split based on something that happened. Of course, you can beat a dead horse. You don't want to do that too much.
Yeah, you don't too much.
But I could see that being done at least one more, because maybe in the last episode they'll tie that bow, but I mean, Mark broke into a door and pulled Steven out of the sarcophagus. They walked two doors down and a door opened. There was another sarcophagus that had Mark's voice yelling. What does that imply unless it's a fucking third personality? Like,
So
yeah, in a way though, they might have done that as a, not to say that they'll answer it in this season, but in a way it'd be clever writing to, knowing that this episode's coming, to throw off the audience and make them expect an answer for that third person when they, because that threw us off, because like the whole time I kept trying to relate, well, how's this going to solve the third character? Is this going to be the third character? But they snuck in this really good fucking backstory about Mark and how it all happened to begin with. And
and I guess, I mean, if they don't go back, I mean, I guess it could be argued that like the third person was the boy, like the, that Steven was like
the original personality before
the original
splits,
personality,
even though it was portrayed as Mark. But yeah, I get what you mean.
Yeah, because like they kind of became but yeah, no, it is a deep.
Or it could be a meta thing, just to be like, if you don't understand we're dealing with multiple personalities, here's your sign.
It could be.
But about that.
I feel like, you know, Steven, unless he's able to process like what he knows from Steven, you know, because Steven, it seemed like when he was Steven, he was like really into learning about Egyptian stuff in a way that Mark doesn't know.
Right.
Mark's more the.
If he'll be able to access that knowledge.
Exactly. If he'll access it, or will he have to get back to Steven to.
Right. Or was or was Steven purely the mechanism by which he could forgive himself?
Definitely.
He definitely was that. But.
Yeah, and maybe that's exactly what he needs. And then like once he gets back into the, like he, you know, gets back in his body, like he created Steven, so he could recreate Steven if he needed to.
Maybe so.
You know.
Dude, that got to me. Like, can you imagine? You know you're responsible, even though you're a kid. You know you're responsible for your brother's death, and then your mother literally dies, thinking that, blaming you the whole time, never forgives.
Yeah.
I mean, that would be. Yeah. And what little research I've done on DID, a dissociative identity disorder, traumatic events is what creates. It's a coping mechanism, a way for you to move forward. And as I think, I could be wrong on this, people correct me in the comments, but they are like, I think like 100% developed when you're a child. Like when traumatic things happen when you're a child.
Imagine you just can't deal with it.
It cannot deal with that kind of. I mean, your mother, you're literally like the equivalent of the sun to the earth. Like this thing that gets you everything, provides all of your structure, like literally where you came from, goes against you. Like
like you failed her and she like quit loving. Yeah, it's just nothing
you
worse.
failed her and she
like,
quit loving you. Like that's.
Yeah, it's like, oh man.
It
it
really does shine a light. Like this shit is like real. I mean, this is a movie or whatever, but a story. But like that all comes from the literature. It's real shit.
And it's really well done. I mean, it's such a
what
great
an
idea.
episode for Mike to miss.
Yeah,
this is the best one. It's a really good episode. I really like it. There was like no action at all. Like it's so good, so much good character
it's
development.
all just it's all just character. I don't want to say exposition because it's like exposition is such a bad term. It's like we're just
talking, right? But it's not
talking. Yeah,
it is that. But see how good it is about
but that's
using
not
all the elements of the creative process in
Absolutely.
filmmaking to like you don't even think one time like they're just two people standing in a hallway talking. Like not one time.
No.
It's constant.
Yeah.
Like they know how to move it.
Unbelievable. Yeah.
That's so good. Wow. Yeah. And they really do treat these just like they're a movie. Like this is
it's like
this is like a 6-hour movie. Like quality.
I mean, and I'm guessing the next episode is just going to be. I can't wait to see the next episode because I'm curious how they're going to deal with Steven and Mark.
Right.
But I guess it's just like he's going to show up now as a more whole version of himself, bust out Khonshu, and be like a full badass.
I mean, it's his origin story. This is it. Like, exactly. Like, people thought, in the moment when we were watching Age of Ultron when it came out, and whatever it came, 15 or 16 or 17, whenever that was, 14. I don't remember what year it was. Here's Wanda and Vision, and it's the equivalent of their origin stories, but like. We really don't get their origin stories until WandaVision. Yeah. And it's so good. I love that. I'll say it again. I've said it 1,000 times. I'll say it again. Like these shows, and I know Kevin Feige realizes this, and that's why he wanted to get to this point, is that you almost need to have the characters' introductions be a TV show. And then from that moment on, you don't necessarily have to do a season 2. But when you then get them into the movies, you can almost spend your entire movie as a spectacle because you've already got 6 hours of knowing where this character is now. And so when you do the team up movies, they're going to feel even more awesome, even though there'll be very little development in maybe any one character because we got 6 hours with this character, 5 hours with this character, 9 hours with this character, and it's really like as long as the writers do a good job about paying off the character, like Infinity War, like they're when you go back and watch the entire in Endgame, when you watch the entire MCU and then watch those movies, like there's not a sentence, let alone a word, like out of place that doesn't fit exactly what that character would do and say.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, and I think the shows will allow them to might make it harder, but will allow them to do that when it comes to the movies. So yeah, I'm all about
I think you're
the
right.
shows developing characters and the movies as being the ensemble, like when they all come together and meet and how the worlds really intermix. Because the shows don't really reference each other because that allows them to develop the character in of themselves. And the movies, it might be a Doctor Strange movie, or it might be a Spider-Man movie, or it might be a old Iron Man movie or Captain America movie, but you get the other
Various
characters
people
in
come
there.
Absolutely.
And you don't need to, because you already know. And that's what You youngins, I tell you, you don't know what you have here. We both grew up. It's not a complaint. It's just an observation. Especially when it comes to superhero movies, you would get invested after a movie or two or three for them to just completely reset and never reference that thing again. You don't know how good you all have it now. And we have it too. We're here. We're just older, but we're experiencing it too. But this is so good. I understand how people could get tired of Marvel because of oversaturation or whatever. But all you gotta do is just have a little experience the way it was before, and then just like, nah, this is not oversaturation. This is fucking cool as shit. Like,
yeah. Well, you know, I still remember going to the movies, and you know. I'm not saying Iron Man 3 was like the best thing ever, but it was like the first time that I was like, oh my God, he's dealing with what happened in the Avengers. Like, that's like, holy shit. Like, that's like, yeah, like, what? Like, yeah, you're right. You know, well, there's multiple things that the youngsters don't understand. Like, when we were growing up, every you know, like, the original, like, 1989 Batman or whatever. You had Batman and Joker. It was good. You had both their origin stories. They always had to do that. Right. And then you got a little bit of action at the end. But still, it was good. And they always did the same thing, where in the next movie, they had to have two bad guys. So then they just got progressively worse because you had to have two
but only the same amount of time to deal with.
Exactly. Yeah. And then, like, I remember, like, watching Spider-Man 3 because they had to put in Green Goblin, him turning into Venom, and Sandman, and it was just like, you know,
it's like
it's just too, like, there was not enough time to have a story.
Right. And the only way to do that is like Avengers, when you have each of their dedicated at that time movies, not shows, but enough time to develop the basics of the character so that when you did the ensemble, it paid off. It was so worth it. I mean, and the thing is, Avengers, a big critique on the original Avengers movie could be that, and I think the reason of its major success is because, like we said, because you had the time to develop the character, each of the heroes in their own movie, a couple of them twice before you got to Avengers. But the Avengers' biggest flaw was the classic trope of the unnamed a shit bad guy.
Yeah.
Avengers was horrible for that. You didn't know anything about the Chitauri, or you know what I mean. It's like the worst trope ever. It's like you don't do any development whatsoever. It's just some name you've heard for the first time and defined as bad. But you should never fucking do that. But it worked with Avengers because you had so much development for it from the characters. So when they came together and finally figured out how to work together by the end to fight the unnamed bad guy or whatever, the unknown bad guy, it worked because that aspect was so strong. Like, but if you step back and did not watch any of the developing movies and just watch the Avengers, it would fall short, and you would suffer from a criticism like, the bad guy is crap. Like, Loki was told by some big purple dude to come, like, take some army of unknown aliens. It's fucking crap. But it only works because you had all that development, hours and hours of development of the heroes themselves. And which is why Infinity War is, in my book, better than Avengers.
Sure.
Like,
because I think everybody's book,
hopefully, I understand, like, first impressions and stuff. When you go to theaters, some people would rank Avengers better, but right, you had all the 20-some movies prior hinting at and developing not just Thanos, very little of Thanos himself, but developing his motives about the Infinity Stones, all those little seeds planted. So when you got to Infinity War, the main, I wouldn't say the hero, but the main character was Thanos. Not any of the heroes, and it was so fucking good, dude.
It was like, not only do you have Thanos, who had like such a, you know, he was like a, you know, like we've talked about before, a bad guy with he thinks he's a good guy. He doesn't see himself as a bad guy, which is always the most fascinating characters. Then you also have this years and years of development about these Infinity Stones, and you know how powerful they are. And you can just imagine him having a weapon of all of them. You know, like what if there's nothing better. There's nothing better, you know. And so, like, it was hitting on every level, you know.
Every level. Even handedness tropes.
Yeah. Yep.
The right hand is good and left hand is bad because he had
Yep.
Thanos, the bad guy, had a left-handed gauntlet, and the time you get to end game, Tony Stark, the good guy's made a gauntlet, and what was it? A right-handed gauntlet. Like it's like all those little subtleties of dead metaphor buried within.
Yeah.
But
absolutely.
so these shows really do give me hope for the future of the MCU. Like I know you haven't seen Spider-Man yet, and Doctor Strange to come out here in a couple weeks, but I as long as we don't get grounded in our in one aspect of our human nature about like sunk cost, the sunk cost fallacy, but because I've put so much time into X, Y, and Z, I don't like change because it doesn't have to do with X, Y, and Z. But if we're open to taking in new characters and new stories like we were originally, I think there's a lot more the MCU has to offer.
Sure.
Even though one could argue oversaturation, but there's just so many stories to tell.
There's so many stories to tell. I think the good thing with the oversaturation is they've kind of they're starting to block it off a little bit. So it's like, we have like I said, we have those TV shows, you can dive into them, or you could just be a casual person, just watch the movies or something. Like if you and they still, and I think they're setting up to where they still make sense. Like I said, Captain, you see him get the shield at the end of that one movie, at the end of Infinity War, and then.
So if you just watched the movie next and he was Captain America, you'd be like, oh, okay, well, he's Captain America.
I got it.
Yeah, you don't have to.
And so you could deep dive if you want, which I think is a very interesting way to do it.
Right.
Actually, very cool.
I like that a lot. Yeah, man.
Yeah. Very cool.
Awesome, man. Well, I hope you're enjoying Moon Knight so far. I mean, clearly it's a good conversation at the end, but
yeah, I especially like this episode. Yeah, Moon Knight's been fascinating because like to start with, I loved it. Like I just loved the whole concept of it, and then there was like an episode or two that like
it lulled.
It lulled a little bit, and I was like, it's a little too, yeah. And now it's picking back up in like such a good way. That,
right.
Yeah,
it works, man.
It's really good.
If you step back and see the shows, if you put them all on a timeline, we're editors, so if you took all the shows and cut out the credits and stuff and just put them all on a timeline as if one thing, you can really see like a 3-story arc. Just like a movie, action bang. You've got some lulls and character development, and then wrap it up at the end. They do work. WandaVision, it literally works. The 3 episodes, and 3. The series that are 6 episodes, 2, and 2. They act 1, 2, and 3. They're. From the actor's point of view, I bet after doing a film or after doing a TV show where they're assuming they're treating it like a movie, they're ultimately getting paid ultimately the same thing but have more work to do. Going back and doing a movie will probably seem easy. It's just a movie. That ain't that much work.
Oh man, after Isaac, his performance here, I mean, there's got to be years off his life to have to like, go that deep.
Absolutely, man. In respect, he was honestly probably one of my favorite actors. I think I had seen him in a couple things, but obviously Star Wars was a big property for him and everything, and he was my favorite character out of the new Star Wars flicks, as complicated and convoluted as they are. Like, just his acting is just so believable. Like, I see him as these characters, not as Oscar Isaac, and so he's a great actor, and clearly
he was in a Coen Brothers movie that I can't think of the name of right now, where he plays a folk singer. He was like,
I'm actually a little behind on my Coen Brothers. Shame on me, I know, but maybe that's some reacts we can do. I haven't probably seen the last 2 or 3 Coen Brothers movies.
Oh well,
there's some of my favorite.
He's fantastic, and to me, that's the first time I ever like when they were like a new Coen Brothers movie starring Oscar. I had never heard of the guy.
It's like,
I was like,
right?
well, that's So that's weird to have. Usually they have like big A-list
actors.
Ones.
And,
and it was great, man. It was a good movie. Well, he was great in it. Yeah.
In general, maybe we should just do a Coen Brothers watch through. I know Dad hasn't seen them all, but it'd be fun. They're great movies, man. I have not seen a Coen Brothers movie I don't like. They still ebb and flow for their own thing, but some are better than others. But they're all good. Like
all good, yeah.
So yeah, it'd be awesome. Well, Chris, man, I appreciate it. This has been a
blast
great
as
little
always.
conversation at the end too. I
Yeah.
don't know if anybody will stick around this long, but if you do, please like the video, subscribe. The stats show that many of the watchers of these videos are not already subscribed. So that's you I'm talking about, Frank and Elizabeth, and I don't know. I'm not calling anybody out, but yeah, we'd really appreciate it. It helps the channel grow. If you're interested in a full-length reaction to this and many other of the series that we've done, you can check out the link to Patreon down in the description below. And I guess otherwise, Chris, we'll catch you and everyone watching on the next one.
Party
Peace.
on.